but I just saw somebody kneel down to take your picture, and I thought they were kneeling down because they were impressed with your greatness, and I think they're both are true. You are amazing. Look at this. This is insane. I cannot believe that India did not submit this film for the Academy Awards. And you know what? You gotta get him. You just gotta get it the other way. You will take down Steven Spielberg here. Versus RRR. We'll see it. But welcome. How are you? Good to see you, Paul. We're going to chat with you. We'll come to you for your questions. And, well, let's see here. This is amazing. I'm so excited to see this. I mean, this is the first American screening that you've seen, right, of this film, or am I wrong? If I'm wrong, why?
No, this is the second screening. The first screening I saw it in New York.
Okay.
It's a smaller theater, but the big theater, big crowd, yeah, is the one.
And this is amazing, right?
Absolutely. More than that.
I'm so impressed. Amy and I we host a podcast called Unspooled. And we watch a lot of classic great movies. And when we saw this movie, we said, well, we have to do an episode on this movie because it's an automatic classic. It blew me away, and it blew me away on a small screen because I watched it on Netflix because that's where I saw it the first time. And to see it here, I mean, this is the only place to see it. You know, we're both just so kind of impressed with this. I want to just talk about one thing, which is 300 days. It took you to make this movie, right?
Yeah, just 300 days.
323. What is that like? Like that's a marathon. How do you approach this? Like I want to understand like on day one, how do you go? All right, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we take an episode by episode, schedule by schedule. We don't plan everything at once. We plan, for example, if Beam's introduction is there, that's the only thing we plan. We plan for it, shoot for 15 days, 20 days, whatever it is. Then take a break, prepare for the next episode, and shoot it. So we don't shoot it at one go, but this we shot it for a period of 1.5 years. If you take out the COVID rights. So yeah, that's how we
shot this during COVID too?
No.
Give them all the awards. That's amazing. No, everyone's freaking out about Tom Cruise. They did that 2 years before COVID. Amy, you're
well, yeah, and also I think part of what blows my mind watching this, like here, is that this is an independent movie. And like here in the States, when we think independent movie, we usually think a little bit smaller than this, like a lot. But you have your team found money. That means this is a movie where you're in complete control. You don't have anybody telling you no. You just have your ability to say yes. Is that true? Is there a limit to how many yeses you can say?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we. All I can say is yes. I mean, we have traditionally been that way. A studio system is not so prevalent in India. We make independent films, but I always wanted to be adventurous. I always started pushing a little bit more than the market, pushing my budgets more than the market. So my previous films, Bahubali, were the biggest. So there we went much beyond the market, and actually we created markets for my films. So RRR was not so difficult in that sense. We already had an existing market for whatever the money we were spending.
I mean, but this is a script that you wrote with your father, who is 80 years old. I mean, as you're writing this movie, as you're being like, okay, in this fight scene, we're gonna have tigers and hyenas and bears and stags fighting in slow motion. Are you ever thinking like, maybe this is a bit much, I should scale it back a little?
No, never.
writing together? What do you do for?
I mean, how we work is that I create those insane moments, crazy moments, but my dad understands that to create that kind of crazy moment, there has to be an emotional basement, right, to build these crazy moments. So I create the crazy moments. He builds a thread which ties all things together and also a basement for all of these things to stand together. So I create the moments, he creates the story.
And a little bit more information about your dad. I learned that he recently just got nominated to be on the parliament in India. Like, he is now a government. Is he as well trying to work with you to write movies where one man rides on another man's shoulders holding two guns?
Not a politician. He didn't join the politics, but he became a member of parliament on a special quota. He doesn't belong to any political party, but he loves doing some kind of service for the land that has given him so much. That's what he says, and he's a workaholic. He gets up 5 a.m. in the morning, and from the time he starts working, he never takes Sundays off, no holidays. He says, "Do you want to go for a holiday?" He says, "It's a waste of time." So from morning to evening, every day,
He's mad when you take
24/7.
those breaks, when you take those breaks in this movie, he's mad at him. Keep on going.
I mean, he writes so many movies, not just for my movies. He's the top writer in the country, so he writes for many other movies as well.
Well, this is the question I have. Obviously, this is not your first film. You are a giant director. You've had tons of blockbusters, each one of them a giant hit. So this is not new that you see people loving your work, but it is interesting that this is the movie that kind of breaks through in a way that, what do you attribute to this movie breaking through here? I think now, a lot of people I've talked to, like, did you see this one? Did you see this one? And tomorrow there's a 10-hour screening of all these and it was like, oh, yes, I have to see this, I have to see this. Do you think there is something about, like, what do you think this was the perfect sauce for this that made it kind of come here? Like, what do you think?
Very frankly, I don't know. I mean, I make films for Indian sensibilities. I know how Indian sensibilities work. That's how I grew up. I never expected RRR to go into the West as much as it did. So I'm absolutely thrilled, no doubt about it. Because I in my wildest dreams, I didn't expect RRR to reach the audience this way, because I thought Western sensibilities were different. I was so wrong.
You were doing what we want. Like, no one makes this, and everyone wants this so bad. But is there a part of you? Is there a part of you that's like, yeah, finally? Did you want to be, seeing this on the West? You don't care. Like, you're like, I'm making my movies. I'm making blockbusters that are giant, and I have my audience. Do you care to kind of get over here and have a hit here as well?
How do I put it? See, people here like RRR because of the way I made it. I didn't make it, I didn't change my style of making, I just made it the way I made it. Now if I suddenly think now I have to change my style and do someone else had, then I'm being neither, I'm not being honest to myself. So I have to make the films that I make that are to my sensibilities and take them to the Western audiences. I think that's the way I should do it.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, the worst thing that I could see is, like, I'm sure people have come to you like, hey, Fast 12, we want you to direct it. Tom Cruise got an idea like that, because I think you have to make your movie. You shouldn't be put into a studio system. I'm sure people are coming to you with ideas, right?
Yeah, there are some ideas. No offense, I love the movies that you mentioned. And
I do too.
The latest Tom Cruise movie, was fantastic. I really love it. But I would like to make my own kind of movies and make them bigger, make them much more bigger.
Are there actors in Malay that you'd love to work with? that you
So,
think
so many, like you were mentioning Tom Cruise. I really love him. There's many.
Now, if you use Tom Cruise, he'd have to really throw a motorcycle and a tiger. No special effects for him.
Yeah, he would take them on a flight and then throw.
But I mean, about, like I saw this movie when it played just opening weekend here in America, not knowing anything about it. And I only learned afterwards that their characters, that Bhim and Raju, are, real people who were, who did things a century ago in India and that made them very famous. And I didn't know that origin story. Like, could you tell me more about who the real men were?
Yeah, I don't want to take a history lesson, but I keep it as simple as possible. Our country, India, was under the rule of the Crown or British government for 90 years, and before that, East India Company was almost de facto rulers of much of the country for 200 years before that. So, in these many years, there were many freedom fighters who were fighting for their existence, for their freedom, for their honor, right? So, in my state, the place I come from, it is divided into two states, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. From Andhra Pradesh is the Allur Sita Ramaraju, Ram, played by Ram, and Kumram Bhim from Telangana, he was from that state. Interestingly, both of them never met each other in history. But both of them were born at the same time. They left their houses when they were about 20, they left their houses, respective houses, and we don't know what happened to them. There is no record of them, what happened to them for 2-3 years. Then they came back. When they came back, they were different men. They started inspiring the people to take up arms and fight against the oppressors. And interestingly, both of them died in the hands of British. So it is, the resemblances or the coincidences were like very interesting for me as a filmmaker. So I thought I would take those 2-3 years whom no one knows about, and I will bring them together. That's I thought it was a great idea, and that's how that I understand it.
You were right. You were absolutely right. I'm going to go into this audience, which is a scary proposition, because I'll let you offer up any questions, anything you want to ask, but make it good, right? Because, we have limited time. So, yes, you're in the front row. I feel like you deserve a question. So, all right, here you go. Let's get the picture question. All right, what's your question? I'll hold the mic.
Yeah, so I feel like India as a film industry is more like it has not ventured into a lot of heavy visual effects right now, and by visual effects I just don't mean CGI, but like any sort of visual effects. So I wanted to ask if you are open to more experimenting, say using AI, and now that there's stuff like deepfakes, would you like to use that in your future films?
The question is, would you like to use deep fakes in your films? Would you like to put the head of Marlon Brando on somebody? Would you use experimental technology? That's it.
First and foremost, we have to understand whether it's the traditional VFX or the new technologies of artificial intelligence, neural net, and I hear so many things that I don't understand properly. But we have to primarily understand those are tools that you can tell your story. Those are not characters. Experimenting or not experimenting, using AI is not experimenting. Trying to tell a story in a different way or trying to tell a different story is experimenting. For my stories, if I feel that those technologies are needed, I will definitely use them.
Another question for you. You're wearing a tie, so I went to you. I feel like you're going to deliver a good question. Here we go.
So first off, thank you. Also, this is a lot of Americans and people in the West first introduction to India in cinema, so I'm wondering if there's anything you would want a Western audience to know about Indian cinema, past or present.
Give us the whole history right now.
Obviously, as an Indian, I would like to, the world to know the stories of India. As a filmmaker, I would like to tell them to the Western audience. There are there are so many stories. It's a huge treasure trove. India. Indians are so crazy that they use story for everything. Even to tell the deepest philosophy, they use a story. So that's the way we are. So I would I would really want the rest of the world to know the Indian stories, and I'm greedy. I want to be at the forefront to tell those stories to them.
I got a question up here. Okay, go for it. No, I hold the mic. I hold the mic. You read your question off your notes. Okay, go for it. Notes have pictures, so we're gonna see. Yeah.
So you've worked with both Sharon and Junior before. So when creating this movie, did you build the characters knowing that you wanted them to play your heroes? And why did you think they would be the right ones to portray such a relationship?
Okay, why did I want NTR and Ram Charan for these characters? I can go on and on about how perfectly they suit the characters. True, they do, but the real thing is, I wanted to do a multi-starrer, and working with one star itself is such a pain, and imagine having two stars together. So the only way that this could work is that there should be a bonding, there should be a friendship between the stars who are working for this film. The only two stars in the entire country who are very, very close to each other, close friends, are Ram Charan and Tara. So that is the reason why I have that.
All right, I have a question up here. What's your question?
So first of all, it's incredible how you just revolutionized cinema for the rest of time. Thank you for that. My question is, I've noticed a lot of the way you film, like conceptualized shots is very like picturesque, as if every single frame is meant to be like screen capture. And the flow of action is almost like it's like animated, like almost like you were the closest to like portraying live action anime, right? What are your influences like visually when you like film and the process behind that?
Primarily, I love action. I like fights, action sequences in the movie. And at some point of time, I don't know when, I realized that emotion gets enhanced if you place it during an action. At the same time, the action makes much more impact if it's emotionally driven. So that is my my way of going forward. None of the action set pieces that come in the movie is not just for the action's sake. There is some kind of story going behind it. I think that gives the flow for the stories that I tell. Did I answer the question, or I missed something?
I think so, kind of on that. I read that one of the movies that really inspired you when you were a kid was the Charlton Heston Ben-Hur. Is that
Yes,
true?
my inspirations, if you're asking of inspirations, yes, Ben-Hur is a huge inspiration. Oh my God, the chariot chase, I don't know how many times I have seen it. Not just me seeing it, I made my whole family see it again and again. They got so fed up with me watching Ben-Hur. Yeah, and many movies, I have said this many times, I love the way the action has been reinvented by Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson in Braveheart. That's one of my favorite movies that inspired me a lot. And of course, the top directors that the Indians knew in India throughout the 80s and 90s, more than the Indian directors, they knew more about Spielberg and James Cameron. They're also my favorite directors. I get inspired by them a lot.
And you're also introducing a matinee of City Lights here on Sunday at the Los Feliz Charlie Chaplin movie that I love. I was thinking, like, you're so good at getting translating so much emotion and feeling silently in your actors here. Like, you have almost like a silent technique in drawing stuff out of them.
Actually, they asked me to present City Lights day after tomorrow. I think that's the only Chaplin movie that I saw, and I have to reserve my words there for to speak there. If I talk about that, I don't have anything else to talk about there. But one thing about Chaplin is that he really makes you cry for him. Even though he makes you laugh, I think he makes you cry for him even more than he makes you laugh. So that is one thing without knowing, I incorporate into my films. Even though there is so much of action, so much of loud cheering from by you for the guys, I'm sure you also shed a tear for them. That is very important for me.
I have a very professional question up here. We got two cameras, a camera on you, a camera on the question asker. All right, no pressure. So it's gonna be good though. Two cameras, the most cameras we have. All right, here we go. What's your question? I'll hold the mic. Sorry, you maybe have to just talk a little bit louder.
Okay, sir, my name is Divya. First of all, I want to congratulate you and the team for the massive success that is coming your way. And thank you and your talented family for upholding and showcasing India and its cultural native aspects to beauty. And thank you for making February 14th the most monumental day in Indian history, Indian movie history. And our fans will know why. So my question is, I want to ask you if you got to speak to our favorite restaurants recently, and what do they have to say about all the love coming their way?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, so so you said that February. Well, who? Sorry, I'll ask. I'll kind of zoom down. Who were you saying that did he speak to? Who? Your favorite friends? Your favorite best friends. I don't know what that means necessarily. What do you mean the favorite best friends?
NTR Insurance.
Oh.
Did you meet up with NTR?
Okay, well, I'm confused. Why am I confused by this question? Hold on one second. I'll try to keep up paring it down. So wait. So did you on February 14th? What's that? What is that?
That's the day of.
No, okay. All right. And then, did he talk to his favorite friends on February 14th?
February 14th, I think, is the biggest day in Indian history because of what he made. The scene from where we meet Jenny all the way to she gets arrested for the same day.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. And then what?
And then
Okay, so this is like putting you in the. He's having a fictional conversation? Alright. The actors, okay. So what did the actors say during that scene? I'm sorry. I'm trying.
I think she wanted to know, did you meet Ram Charan and NTR recently? And how they're feeling about the massive success this movie is getting worldwide. Did you get to know how
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, got it. So what did the actors, we were all over here. Okay. So what did the actors think of this? You're here. So that's the question is simple. What's the reaction? How did they feel? I mean, obviously these two gentlemen are giant stars, right? But now they also are having this newfound success. I've said that I believe that they're going to be in the Fast and Furious movies. I'm sure of it. But what was it like? Have you talked to the guys since you made the movie? And so sorry it took me so long. I'm just tired. I just came. Yeah, sorry.
Right now, I'm pretty sure they're feeling very sad that they are not here.
Me too!
That's for sure.
We've got to get them nominations too. We got to get them too. I mean, maybe put them supporting and lead. I don't know. We'll get them in there. We'll get all these two. Best actor. Of course, best director. If the dad can take off the day from Parliament to go to the Academy Awards, we'll get him in. All right, let's get another question here. Sorry, guys.